Hi, everyone. I'm James Garbutt.
And I'm Denny Dumas.
And this is the Garbutt Dumas Real Estate Podcast. Okay, folks, today we are talking about the importance of reputation in real estate. And I think this is kind of a good topic because, Denny and I have been behind a lot of transactions and we've seen the value of good reputation from the client side. We've seen the value of having a good reputation in our industry. Not to say that every circumstance is different, but we've also seen the detriment you can have by not caring about your reputation necessarily. So This is kind of like a short-term versus long-term sort of thought process. And I think the way that we want to cover this in this show is to talk about the importance of reputation within our industry from the realtor perspective.
Yeah.
And then also the importance of reputation from the client perspective. And it's a little bit different if you're a buyer, seller, or a past client. But I think the overall kind of theme of this show is, do the right things, have the right habits, mean well, do well, and it reflects on your reputation. And if you slip on it, you have everything to lose. Mm-hmm. And so I don't feel that it's difficult to maintain a good reputation. It just takes good habits and mean well, but it's very easy to lose it. And so I think where we'll start here is within the industry, within realtors, because the public doesn't see a lot of the frustrations that we see, and they're, aside from little things like, not respecting other realtors' time or not communicating in a respectful way, there's a lot of bigger things where you're not working the best interests of necessarily a client. So Denny, I think you've been behind, so many of these interesting transactions over the last year or two. I'd love to know your thoughts on some maybe top things that come to mind when it comes to reputation and how you can burn it or how you can create it and build it within our industry with other realtors.
The first thing that comes to mind is communication. And it goes both ways, that it can absolutely help your reputation within the industry with other realtors, and it can absolutely hurt it. So you mentioned just being on time, but it means a lot to listing agents if you're going to be 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late for a showing, which happens more than half the time, just to send them a text or call them on the way to the appointment. You're sitting in your car in traffic, we get it, like things happen, or your last showing goes late or whatever it may be. Call or text. It means a lot, and just showing up 15 minutes late, no apology. It hurts your reputation for sure. The other, go ahead.
I just want to kind of add to that, showings in person, are important to us, and there's, I think a lot of the frustration here comes from the fact that we're not there was a time where buyers were on tours often. And so tour schedules could get out of whack. Mm-hmm. And yes, that courtesy text in advance when you know you're running late, that takes 30 seconds, just fire it off, running late. That's all that you're referring to. Yeah. But nowadays, oftentimes it's just a single showing. They're not coming from a tour. Yeah. They are coming to see one property. This is just a human behavior thing. It goes a mile to just give warning that you're running late versus just ghosting and showing up.
Totally.
Yeah. And it usually sets the tone for more fun things to come if you're dealing with that type of individual.
Totally.
But yeah, no, fire away. So
communication throughout the entire process too. So when you're multiple offers is a big thing. We saw them almost every deal in 2016, 17. We're seeing them again fairly often in 2020. Communicating well throughout the entire process. There's an example, Jamie, I'm going to give you. I had a client who wanted to write an offer on a 2-bedroom condo in Port Moody. It listed literally that day. We call the agent, say, hey, can we get in there tomorrow? And she says, we showed it 15 minutes ago. We have an offer. We're probably going to accept it. And I say, okay, give me 10 minutes. So we write an offer, send it to them without seeing it because we knew we were going to like it. And she texts me back 10 minutes later saying, I'm sorry, accepted. So that is very frustrating when I've communicated to someone that we are going to write an offer. And the really good thing that she did that I'll always remember next time I deal with her is she called me after that text and just said, hey, just so you know, this is what happened. The seller had these really specific dates. They got a number that they liked. They didn't want to wait for others. I told them that yours was coming. It really wasn't up to me. And just the 2 minutes that it took to make that phone call completely switches my idea of how that transaction was handled. Was I upset that we missed it? Yeah, absolutely. But I also respected the fact that she just called and explained that it wasn't really up to her.
I think that's a really good point. We've been on the receiving end of this news. We've been on the delivering end of this news. And, as a realtor, you just it's important to be good at delivering bad news.
Yeah.
Or not good at it, just be willing to do it in an honest manner.
Just be honest.
Just don't hide from it. And oftentimes it's human nature to shy away from giving bad news because you just don't want to do it. And that's the most frustrating thing. So when it comes to offer night, give the bad news early. Don't ghost on the phone. Communication, particularly if there's multiple offers situation, that's an easy way to lose a reputation amongst realtors if you don't handle it well.
Totally.
So, I guess just things that are important to us for the realtor's side when it comes to reputation, you want to make it easy for realtors to schedule an appointment or get property information. You want to make it easy for them to communicate with in an offer situation and negotiate well. And you want to make sure that, I think we'd like to have the reputation that we treat people fairly. So when you go from a single agent that is the only person behind your listing and you have your cell phone out there and you can text message and it's easy to get a hold of that one person, there's no there's very few room for error for communication there. And when you get some certain big teams, I think the frustration from the realtor side is you don't know who's dealing with offers, you don't know who's going to call you back. They're so systematic in a way that just booking a showing and negotiating an offer becomes a struggle. So, as our team is in between these worlds, our goal is to try to have that personal touch that an individual agent could have, but in a team dynamic, which is challenging when you have multiple people behind, listings. But that's how our business has evolved. And I think today we're doing a pretty good job of it. I think communication, make it easy. And then when it comes to offers, treat people honestly and fairly, I would say. I mean, those are two big standout things that come to me when it comes. And then showings, be accommodating. It's clear when you're trying to book a showing with a realtor that has no interest in your schedule or time versus theirs, versus the other way around. And it could depend on the individual. It could depend on the listing. So when things three simple things comes to how easy it is to book a showing or do showings, how easy it is to get information or negotiate an offer. So offers, negotiations, showings, communication.
Yeah, to me, that can all be kind of wrapped up in communication. Yep. So same throughout a multiple offer situation is just over communicating, letting people know how many offers there are. If they're not in first place, letting them know early, not waiting till 11:30 to get a text. I don't want this to sound like I'm complaining, but I'm going to do it anyway. A couple weeks ago, I just want to share really quickly. A couple weeks ago, I had an offer out in a place in Port Moody. I think there were 6 offers. I got a text at 11:15 after a couple messages from me just asking for an update. It's getting late. My guys are going to bed. Are we going to wait till the morning? What's happening? No reply. Got a text at 11:15 saying, you're not in the lead. Let us know in the next 15 minutes if you want to improve your offer. Otherwise, we're going to work with someone else. My reply is, seriously? It's 11:15. Clients are probably in bed. I sent you the offer 4.5 hours ago. What were you doing in the last 4.5 hours? Time is important too. It is. It's frustrating for me specifically. I don't really care if you call me at 12:30 and want me to get a better offer. Sure, I'll try. But it's more just understanding and be considerate of other people's time too, and dealing with offers that late. It's just frustrating the clients more than anything. 90%
of the time, I'm saying realtors, we're creating our own chaos.
100%.
We don't have business hours. We don't have clock in, clock out. People decide if offer presentations on a Monday at 2 or a Sunday at 10, p.m. So, and I think for me, yes, I mean, first world problems. I don't like it when there's offer presentation Saturday at 8 p.m. Sunday at 8 p.m. Some people do that. There's logic to that, I guess, but it's really inconvenient for most people's lives. And just going late into the night before you get a response and you're supposed to respond at 11 p.m., I mean, that's difficult. That's challenging. And if you're going to do that, set that expectation up in advance. Don't leave us guessing. You know, if you say submit offers by 4, but we're not going to hear back from you by 11 p.m., and you're not communicating the whole way through, that's where reputation comes in. Now, the benefit of a good reputation when you're working with realtors well is, keep in mind, a lot of these realtors are coming from other areas, and word of mouth travels. And what basically comes is you're more likely to get referrals. So yeah, you may not care if realtors like you or not, but realize that realtors can often be a great source of business. Yeah. And our team gets a lot of realtor referrals, and it's probably more because of our faces on social media, but I'd like to think that sometimes it's because it's, I think oftentimes it's because just people know what they're going to get. You know, they know that it's consistency, really, at the end of the day.
It'll help you in those competing offer situations too. It means a lot to us as listing agents, to other listing agents, the name behind the contract. When you see an agent that you've worked with multiple times who's handled everything phenomenally versus someone you've never heard of or have never done a deal with, it means if there's similar offers and we're giving advice to clients, we're probably saying, I know this agent, I've done a handful of transactions with him. It's always been a really good experience. His client has always removed subjects. This to me is probably the stronger offer. This one over here, I'm not really sure. They didn't give me any information about their client. I haven't run into this agent before. This one probably has a better likelihood of removing subjects.
Yeah.
And so that side of the reputation within the realtor community, I think, is super important. And what a lot of people, like you said, short-term versus long-term, I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about how their action today, showing up 30 minutes late for a showing without a text or something like that, could potentially affect them down the road if you're offering on that person's listing.
I think you make a really good point, like just acknowledging from how reputation equity, let's call it, benefits the buy side versus, say, the sell side. I mean, on the buy side, if you're a buyer's realtor, if you're representing a buyer and you're in a multiple offer situation and you submit an offer that's similar to others, you know, from our end, when we're looking at those offers and there's no significant difference between them and they're very similar, we're often looking at the agent's name. And it's because we want more certainty that the deal is going to go through. And so it could be the agent's name. It also could be the way the offer is written. Yeah. You know, a really poorly written offer could give us low confidence versus a well-written offer. A respectful agent versus a non-respectful agent, a prominent agent versus you never heard of agent. And I think that we've been benefiting. Well, we've been on the winning side many times in multiple offer situations, and I know some of those times is because of peace of mind. Yeah. That, you know, when you do things right, we have a reputation that we're likely to work with a solid buyer. And that's helpful. And on the selling side, I really don't think, you know, you don't have necessarily something to lose in that immediate short-term transaction. You can be a difficult selling realtor, and the buying realtors will just have to live with you. But really, you're burning future bridges. And if you're the listing agent this time, you might be the buyer's agent next time. And that's really, you know, I can think of some cases where listing agents totally took advantage of the situation. I mean, I had one instance where I had a buyer move into a home. And when we moved into the home, there was holes in the walls and they touched them up with the wrong paint color all over the house. So we move into the house, and aside from the fact that it was dirty, it wasn't perfectly clear, like it was already messy, they had the good intent of touching up their walls, but it was with the wrong color all over the house. So it was a big mistake. And we just asked for some compensation to fix it. It was a reasonable amount. It got dwindled down to much less. I think it was got dwindled down to $500. Which wouldn't even cover the cost of doing this work. But what the realtor chose to do in this case as a listing agent, she chose to use this opportunity to basically say that by reducing the price $500, your buyer has to sign off saying that the house is in perfect condition and they cannot go back to the seller for any reason moving forward after this point in time. It was basically an opportunity that she saw it as an opportunity to lose any ongoing potential liability from the seller's perspective, which is weird, but I get it. She's trying to represent her client the best. If you're going to give $500, you should get no liability in return. But it was just so frustrating because it was their mistake. It was them causing damages to the property. and the agent took it as an opportunity to get that extra win, not worrying about her reputation. And that, for me, that was frustrating. It was not just, that was a reputation killer. Anyway, so aside from the buy side, the sell side is it could burn you down the road. When it's from the client perspective, like we're talking about how realtors perceive you, but let's talk about the value of a good reputation or respectable reputation from a buyer's perspective. So like when I'm thinking of buyers, I think that one, what's most important to them? They want to trust the person. They want to have faith in the person that they represent or that represents them. They want that person to be honest, knowledgeable, and an expert of what they're buying. And so, as a realtor, if you don't have any sort of outward content that emits these qualities, I mean, our team. This is why we have a podcast. This is why we're active on social media. We're pumping content so people get to know us. But what are you doing so that buyers get to know you? And what are you doing to build reputation status with buyers? And that's trust, honesty, knowledge, and expertise are big things in my mind. And so we're doing this. But Denny, I mean, does anything come to mind for you when you're thinking on the client side of the things when it comes to reputation?
Social media is a huge tool for that, I think. And even just the stories platform of sharing little experiences that you're going through with other buyers, or sharing knowledge that you're learning through your career, whether it be with, what's happening with mortgage rates, or what's happening in strata insurance, or something you learned in a depreciation report or something like that. But just, I think sharing knowledge, showing that you are very knowledgeable in the specific field, I think is like, it just matches up right with your trust out there, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, how do you build trust? And I think social media is a huge tool for that.
Little things like, so you can put out the content, people get to know you, that might emit trust and build your reputation online. I think that's crucially important to anybody. On the selling side, it's a little different. Like, selling side, buyers look for different attributes than sellers. Sellers want to know their place is going to sell. They want to know who they're going to sign the listing up, that they're going to put effort into it, and they're going to market it well. So, reputational status can be gained from what are the effort that you're putting out there when you're marketing listings? What things are you doing? So I think effort and marketing are more important on the selling side and not any importance or very little importance on the buyer side. We put content out there. We market listings well. This is to not only have the best chance of selling the property, but it builds our reputation. And when future clients see this, we're more likely to get hired by them and rehired. So the better job you do for your current listing, the more likely you are to get a listing that you didn't expect after that.
Yeah.
And that's reputation. Your reputation is giving people trust or building your trust with others and giving them peace of mind, which ultimately results in more business.
How important are Google reviews?
Google. Okay, so let's talk about some important things to do to build reputation. Okay, so big agent or not, new or old, Google reviews are important. Being visible online and sharing your knowledge and content, I think, is important.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on every platform, but it's good to pick your favorite or pick your strong ones. But I think, Facebook, Instagram are great platforms to share your stories. Maybe TikTok's an up-and-coming thing. YouTube's great for more long-term content. Having a website where you bring it all together is important. That's like your resume. That's where people come and find you and see what you're about. What was the original question? Where did we start with
Just
this?
Google reviews.
Oh, Google reviews. Yeah, Google reviews is key. I mean, that's where people. Oftentimes, if someone's searching realtors in Burnaby, realtors in Vancouver, and you're one of the Google dots that come up, your star rating is and how many reviews you get is gonna be the determining factor of that.
We're talking about a lot about online presence in terms of building reputation and social media. The reason we're talking a lot about this is because it works for us, right? What percentage of our business in the last few years comes straight from people finding our website, following us on social media?
I should know that percentage,
I would
but
guess,
it's a lot.
I would guess 40%. 35?
30, 35, yeah. I mean, keep in mind, we get a lot of repeat referral business.
Yeah.
We're well established. So even if that sounds like a low percentage to you, realize it's still a large volume of actual transactions. Yeah, I mean, this is... at the end of the day, you can call it marketing, you can call it, inbound, you're just putting content out there. But what it does is it builds trust and it builds your reputation, and that ultimately results in more business.
Totally.
Google reviews. I mean, I'll put out there Yelp reviews as a private company. We've been on Yelp. Didn't really like it. Didn't really feel it benefited us too much. So, Google's free, and I highly encourage Google. Facebook reviews are important too. They even show up on your Google Business platform. And testimonials that you can put on your website. Those are all important. The other thing I would say is just kind of overall is like a client thing. Buyers look for certain things that you can emit in your reputation. Sellers look for certain things. And then once the transaction's done, past clients look for certain things. And so, sometimes it's a thoughtful gift at the end of a transaction, the follow-up after they move in, the checking in once in a while. And for us, it's client invites to special events we put on and emails that we send out. And a lot of our clients are following us on social media and see our lives anyway. And we're doing the same with them. So I think for past clients, the important thing is to show that you still care. If you show you still care, you have some sort of systems that keep in touch with past clients. That's how you don't lose your reputation after the deal.
We talked a lot about how to build a reputation online. Any things that would hurt your reputation online or through social media?
A 3-star Google review, like a bad floating Google review, poor social media presence, I'd say it's almost worth not having an account than having a bad account. Yeah. Not having a website. So it's really what you're not doing.
Yeah.
If you are if you don't have a website and you're trying to get someone's business on the listing side and they Google your name and nothing shows up, if the person doesn't show up, how's the confidence in the listing?
Totally.
Going to get that extra eyes. But no, I think it's really more about what you're not doing that could lose it. And so, low star rating, poor to no content. On a website, it could be very dated content. Like if your blog is the last post was 2016, that's how you're going to lose someone. Yeah. Have a good website. And if you can't manage multiple social media platforms well, narrow it down to one. Narrow it down to less. Do less things well.
Yeah. One of my friends who is a kind of like a online content manager in the States, one thing he said to me recently was, I was asking about different platforms, and he talks to a lot of business owners about how to manage social media, what platforms to be on. And one of his comments was, do as much as you can handle. So understand yourself. If Instagram is your thing, do Instagram. If Twitter's not your thing, it's almost more harmful having an account that you go on once every 3 months, because someone will look at your name on that platform, see that you haven't posted in 6 months, and wonder if you're still in business.
Twitter is not our thing, but we are on Twitter. It's just an outward, here's a new listing. But we should be very open. We are not Twitter strong.
No, totally.
No, we are more Instagram heavy, I would say. That would be kind of our main focus. And YouTube's there too. YouTube's great for permanent content.
Yeah.
But
I thought that was a good comment though, and just understanding that, like, focus on what you enjoy and what you're good at rather than spreading yourself too thin.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest positives of having a good reputation is the realtors you work with will love and respect and appreciate you. Mm-hmm. And whether that amounts to more business or not, it feels good to have that reputation. On the client end, you're going to get more referrals, get more business. All this, doing good things amounts to good things. Mm-hmm. It's a net positive. It's going to be more profitable. Mm-hmm. And I feel that there's if you're a new agent getting in the business, put your content out there. The sooner you have it, the sooner you can gain trust from people that see you and reputational value. Mm-hmm.
And I'd say the last thing I want to say is just understand that reputation is a very long-term thing. It takes time to build it, but it's very quick to lose it. So like if you're going through a transaction with a new realtor and you're at a roadblock and you're trying to decide which way to communicate or which way to handle it, understand that pick the thing that is going to help long-term. Pick the thing that is going to show other people that you're communicating well, you're honest. Cutting a corner and someone finding out about it or not communicating well and a big agent being disrespected or feeling like they're disrespected can hurt long-term. Can hurt reputation long-term. Just understand that it's a long-term thing, building reputation. And if you want to be in this industry for a long time, treat people well.
It's a great industry when you have a great reputation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we can call it at that, Denny. I don't have anything else to add.
Beauty. Like it.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys.